Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 5th episode of the PureJoy Podcast. My name is M, and I am the host. Each episode, we interview one of our friends, one of our community members. Maybe it's a loved one, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a close friend, maybe it's someone we don't even know. This week, it is someone that we know. It is a close friend of ours and of our communities. Her name is Trinity Palmer, so we're going to jump right on over to that. Meet Trinity thereof. Hello, Trinity. How is it going today?
Oh, it's going great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a relaxing day today. I don't know. I woke up with a little anxiety today, but I picked up from my mom in my youth that when I wake up with feelings like that, I clean. And so I cleaned my whole house today. And so I feel a little bit better because I got a lot of cleaning done. And I was looking forward to this. So it was nice to prepare, get everything prepped up for this and get everything in place. It's always very fun. What did you get up to today? How was your weekend?
Today was actually more of my relaxing day. Yesterday I had all the shenanigans to get done, had schoolwork I needed to get done, and was introducing my lovely significant other to Elden Ring.
To Elden Ring, I saw that. How did he get off on Elden Ring?
He's doing pretty good with it. We picked up a mod from Nexus for a seamless multiplayer to kind of get around what the base multiplayer is.
Yeah, that's the one that breaks down the barriers, right? Allowing you to just play a true multiplayer experience through the whole thing. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yep, no longer disconnecting if one of you die. There's a bit of DC there. Sometimes enemies on your side, but they don't spawn on the other side.
Okay.
Sometimes they just get animation locked. It's a bag of mixed rights. Sure. Maybe it works.
It's a mod, it's a mod. That's how they go. Great. Okay, cool. Well, we like to start off each of these episodes with a question, and that is something that has brought you joy today, a daily joy, something you look back on and maybe find joy in that you felt today.
Always having a new Mountain Dew brings me absolute joy to being caffeinated.
Just like a fresh can of Mountain Dew?
Oh, a fresh liter of Mountain Dew.
Fresh liter of Mountain Dew, but like a fresh opened bottle. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Always having one at the start of the day makes it the best day.
I like that. I look forward to my morning coffee. My partner will often wake up and make her coffee and then leave some of it for myself so that when I wake up, I am able to just have a cup of coffee. And that's really nice. It's generally kind of cold, but I've grown used to cold coffee, so it's totally fine for me. I don't mind a cold cup of coffee.
Especially in the heat where we've got 100 plus. I mean, having a good cold coffee is the best.
Yeah. I really enjoy a nice cup of coffee, and then always before I come on to an episode, I make a fresh single cup of coffee. Like a pour over. That's one of my favorite cups of coffee. It's just like a single cup pour over experience. It's just it's very, very good. Well, great. I'm glad that you were able to find some joy today in drinking some Mountain Dew. So what in your life, onto our topic at hand, what in your life brings you pure joy?
So back on topic of hand, I have been driving a motorcycle since last fall, but it has always been a lifelong dream of mine to actually get one. And my significant other was able to help with that. Still paying him back on that, even if he's floating about over here. He tries to joke that it's a gift, but no, I can't accept that as a gift. He's getting paid back for it.
Right.
Actually, having that freedom of a motorcycle has been one key aspect that's brought a lot of joy.
Yeah, okay, so you got that last fall, you said.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't work through winter. So
I was going to say, do you live in a place where winter motorcycling is a possibility?
It is, but the issue is the previous owners didn't take care of it.
Oh.
So we fought through the winter out in the parking lot before I even got a garage in the spring. I found somebody who had one. We worked on that thing in freezing temps, cold weather, changing the oil, just trying to get it started, and it just wouldn't. Ended up having to take it up to a mechanic in a blizzard.
Oh my goodness. So did you learn all the stuff that you know about motorcycles after you got this motorcycle, or have you been studying up and learning about them for longer?
For a lot longer. My passion for motorcycles actually came from, I had to have been 7 or 8. and my dad bought this junker of a bike.
Hmm.
It wouldn't start, and like me and my dad didn't do hardly anything growing up as a kid. So when he brought home this junker, he actually asked for my help on trying to repair it. We painted it, and I remember like we cut open like one of those Mountain Dew 24 box cases
Yeah.
and made decals out of the cardboard and painted the motorcycle. We never got that thing to start, and it had the ugliest paint job you could imagine. And we ended up selling it when we moved, but it kind of got a chuckle out of me because a few years I remember seeing someone driving that motorcycle in town with the ugliest paint job. I would recognize that thing from a mile
The
away.
same paint job where the decals still like on it, the cardboard decals. That's
They
incredible.
didn't replace them. They fixed it and were driving it through town.
That is amazing.
Me and Dad were never able to get it up and running, but somehow
They got it up and running, and
they did.
that's super funny. I love that. So it's just always been, I guess, in the back of your mind. You learned a little bit then when you were like, you said 7 or 8, when you were learning how to kind of repair that with your dad. And you've wanted one since then. You were finally able to get one last fall. That's incredible. What kind of bike do you have?
It's a cruiser style Yamaha Roadster. It kind of got a chuckle out of me because whenever I first got it, I had my license, but I didn't have a license plate on it. But I still wanted to drive it around the block, right? Just to see whenever I got back home, because I was mortified of this thing. I couldn't even take it on the highway. The people we bought it from actually delivered it for us, and we just paid them for the fuel cost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And me being me, I wanted to drive it around the block because I'm stubborn, and I wanted to see how it handled. So when I drove it around the block, I was wobbling back and forth because I didn't have the knowledge on that, and got pulled over by a cop. And it got a chuckle out of me because he mentioned just like, why are you driving something so big for being such a new rider? And I just mentioned it's like, that's all they had.
That's what they had. So it's a big bike. It's like a big wide bike. The name rider kind of tells me that it's probably meant for like long, maybe cross country trips, kind of situations like that.
It's a highway bike, cruiser model.
Okay.
It's like 1700cc engine on that thing. It is.
Does something
insane.
have like that have space for like if you were say you were to go on like a long trip like that, do you have an area on the bike where maybe you could store a bag?
Yep.
Yeah.
The cool things with motorcycles that have always been really cool for me. Hopefully, whenever I get a lot more money able to come in, I'll add some more upgrades. But the cool thing with motorcycles is you can customize them. That is one of their key aspects. You can make it yours. So mine has space for saddlebags, trunks, and there are so many variations out there, but they're really expensive. But I hope someday that I can expand what I have now, because right now all I've got is a couple of saddlebags.
Okay.
One that holds my purse, and one that just holds tools and oil, because thing just burns oil like it's going out.
Yeah. The prep stuff in one saddlebag. That's good though.
Yep.
This is kind of modular. You can. Is it easy enough to just like buy the right kind of trunk and get it installed yourself?
Yeah. Most of the trunks though do have the downside. You have to drill into them and modify them for a lot of them.
Okay.
Which it's feasible. It's just trunks aren't the most modular to pop in.
Sure.
But your saddlebags are. I mean, those are just,
you definitely have the room to be able to do something of that nature. That's really neat.
Yeah. And it's an eventual goal because, I mean, eventually, right now I haven't been able to go on any long-term adventures. I mean, you guys have seen gas prices right now.
Yeah.
I have to put the premium grade stuff in. It's like $5.
I'm finally comfortable enough to think about going on a long trip again too. Like I just didn't want to be around strangers that I like didn't trust. And while I still don't necessarily want to breathe the same air as a stranger I don't know, I like am more comfortable definitely going on a trip now where I like if I meet someone at a campsite, I I'm not like, I'll run and grab my mask or whatever. We can like chat. We could be a community again, and that is becoming nicer. So I'm finally like thinking about going on these trips again, and I have wanted, every time I tell my friends and family that I like am interested in having a motorcycle of some kind, they scoff at me because my history with motor vehicles is pretty friggin' dismal. I have totaled probably like 5 cars. I put a car through someone's garage. I don't know if you saw that like picture that Zen sent. Our friends in Kaiser sent a message about when he was on vacation, a car crashed into the house he was staying in, and it is just wild that he was going through the situation. So he was showing us the pictures, and it definitely reminded me of the time in which like that picture was taken out of my brain. We were at the top of a hill, and we thought the car was parked, and we were messing around in the car, and the car started like going backwards down the hill, and we were fighting to get to we weren't in the driver's seat, we were fighting to get to the driver's seat, and the car like crashed into someone's house before we could make it. Bad situation. Anyway, all that is to say, I have a dismal record with cars, and so a lot of people get very nervous when I say I want a motorcycle. But there was a time when I lived in a small town, and I was able to at least take a high-speed moped about town and out onto the roads, and it always made me want that experience. But in the long term, like I want to go on a trip like that where you just get to feel the wind and be a part of the nature as you're in it. It's like a feeling you can never get in a car. And while I don't think I've done that on a motorcycle, adjacent experience has made me want to try it.
I mean, with a motorcycle, like you said, that freedom, that fresh air in your face. I mean, even 30 minutes out. I mean, I joke about Missouri and the fact that we got nothing over here, but we also have the most beautiful landscape. I mean, I've been born and raised in Missouri, so that may be opinionated since I've never really been outside the states. For me, Missouri is like some of the most beautiful trees, especially in fall. We get like some really colorful things. And I'm looking forward to this fall now that we have the motorcycle functional, and we aren't having to fight it anymore. We just need to put more oil into it every once in a while. But like being able to go on a longer trip with that, breathing in that fresh air, seeing the colors. Eventually, I do want to drive all the way out to Washington, Seattle.
Beautiful.
Because of the landscape out there.
Yeah.
It would be really nice because that freedom, that fresh air, like you said, the colors, the smells. I mean, that's what really sets a motorcycle apart from a car. A car, you're in a box and you don't get anything, especially newer cars.
Yeah.
My significant other, David, over there in the chat, he got himself a new vehicle, and like getting in there, you can't hear anything. And it threw me off for like a month whenever we were riding in this thing because it's just so quiet. And I need that like sound and that rhythm to actually feel like I'm driving something and not just floating. So having that motorcycle that vibrates just is what feels good as well. Because like,
the power beneath you.
Part of it.
Yeah. I've always been curious. I'm a huge fan of like music in the car. What do you do? Is it no music? Is it the sound of the bike and the like wind, or is there like a?
So for me, I've got a specific headset that connects to my phone. It's got speakers inside of it and a microphone. So I bought my significant other one as well for our trips. It's got an intercom system, so we can talk back and forth.
Yes, I love that.
But the really cool thing is I like putting the music on, but quiet enough so I also can hear the engine, I can hear the wind coming in, and it's a combination of all three that makes it a really good ride wherever I'm going.
Yeah, okay, I like that. I haven't owned my own car in a few years, or like a vehicle of any kind like that. My partner has a Jeep, but recently, that's I would say like a year ago, it broke down, and we're finally like taking the necessary steps to get it, I don't know, either donated or scrapped or whatever it ends up being. But I'm very excited just to like go. I noticed the other day when I was out, I went out to grab, I don't know, maybe some Grubhub or something from the front porch, and it was such a beautiful night. And when he pulled up, I felt like the normal, like not hot, not cold air. It was beautiful temperature, very clear, and he just like came up, all his windows down, blasting the music, and it just like made me so like nostalgic for that feeling, because I haven't gotten to go on like a nice beautiful day drive and just to like enjoy the tunes and the weather and like the moment like that in quite a while. That is a lovely thought, and I'm very much looking forward to you being able to get a shot at that this this fall and the as the summer begins to cool down. I grew up a lot in Missouri, and you're right, it does have a lot of beautiful landscapes, and it hits all four seasons very nicely. Summer, pretty hard, and winter pretty hard as well at the end, but it hits all four seasons, and that's beautiful. What is your dream? What is like your dream bike?
I don't have one currently. I mean, I've really enjoyed looking at them, but I don't have a dream one per se. I just want something that gets me where I need to go and looks nice along the way.
Okay. Is there any I assume that you want more than one. You'd like to have a few to be working on as like a larger hobby, or are you like, now that you have yours, is it just like, I want to keep this one in nice running shape so that this is what I have?
Right now the goal is just to have just the one, keep that in future shape, because eventually I just want to join a biker organization, BACA in particular. That is the future goal with that. Whenever I move to an area that has a chapter, and for those that don't know, BACA is Bikers Against Child Abuse. They ride with kids that have been part of a domestic abuse case, and kind of form as a coalition to push against that abusive party. So the kid is no longer scared of speaking out. And for me, that means a lot. And seeing a biker community come together with that, heck, they even get them their own little adorable leather jacket, like kid size, so that they can keep with them forever. And for me, that is a future goal, to be a part of something like that.
That is amazing. That brings up, I was invited to a friend's birthday, and he told me that it was in this spot in the south side of the city, which is a little bit more on the dangerous side. And so I had a group of friends that were expected to go with me. I ended up going alone, and when I pulled up to the address, it was this weird building that was gated off. And I was like, this is strange. It's like a single building. It wasn't like an apartment building, just like almost like a bar. And I called them. I was like, hey, come out. And it turns out that it was, in fact, a biker bar. That was like a biker clubhouse. And while they were some pretty gnarly biker dudes and like pretty gnarly biker clubhouse, I remember seeing the BACA flag, or a flag with that like emblem hanging up amongst their things. And that is, I don't know, kind of heartwarming. Even in like these like, more gruff places, there's still like the influences of this amazing organization.
It always gets a chuckle out of me when everyone considers like bikers to be the most gruff and tough. It's like, one of the other bikers I met, he was part of the Real Bearded Santas. He used to ride motorcycles in an organization. I don't remember his group, but he was part of the Real Bearded Santas. And I met him on a missionary trip whenever I was doing church and stuff. In my that's how I got out of Missouri for a little bit. Like we went up to Detroit and stuff with a group from a city near us. And I remember because he had like a full bushy beard, and I would have never guessed him as a motorcyclist. Because he was like, you get like the gruff and tough as what every motorcycle is. He's just got a big bushy beard, letting a couple of the girls from the church group braid his beard.
That's funny. And then he fucking hops off of a Santa chair and onto a motorcycle and off into the night he goes.
I think he gave up riding motorcycles, but I would have paid good money for that.
That's very funny. My godparents were big motorcyclists. My godmother still has a couple, but my godfather they both rode with like the gnarlier biker gangs across Texas and across the United States. They would go on like long biker trips with large groups of big gnarly bikers. And I only say that not because of the stereotypical place where we began, but because when I saw them, they were all like big gruff, older people with these bikes, everyone in leather, and like it's all like old and weathered leather, and an image seared into my mind, you know what I mean, that I think I've always stuck. And like when I was partying with those dudes, I would say that like they were a bit gruffer. They definitely were like had the weathered leathers on as well. But it's very fun to think like, I mean, like, you don't fit that stereotype. You're not like a big gruff wearing all the weathered leather all the time person. And like, if I were to just get one, I definitely would not fit that stereotype. It's just fun to think about that, I think.
Oh God, no, especially in this 100-degree weather. I mean, it was nice and cool and fall. Yeah. I would be wearing a leather jacket
Sure.
all the time. But,
Sure.
it's 100 degrees. I would prefer not to die. I mean, even on the motorcycle, all I can wear in this heat is just a helmet and some boots. And we pray that that's enough.
Do you have a sidecar on your thing? Do you two hop on the same like bike? Do you guys have separate bikes?
No, David isn't into the whole motorcycle part. He enjoys it for me. But
Sure.
there's a seat on the back he can hop on if he wants to.
Sure,
I've
sure.
tried to convince him to go on more adventures, but he doesn't like it quite as much as I do. He likes flying better and wants to get his paramotor training.
Okay, that sounds interesting. You guys could fly and when you get where you're going, hop in the motorcycle and drive it out of the plane. That's the dream. Yeah, that's very fun. Okay. What has been your favorite part about like learning about motorcycles? Spending all of the time to like get it working. What has been some things, I don't know, that you've picked up that maybe you can use outside of that even?
So for me, I don't think working on the motorcycle I picked up anything that could help me outside of it, but it's been a lot of fun actually repairing it. Because with a car, I mean, I understand how that works, but with a motorcycle, I now understand a lot of the intricates inside of it. So, granted, some of it and a good portion of it I can't fix myself. I don't have
Sure.
the tools nor the knowledge to, but I understand how it works. And for me, that's a great piece of understanding whenever I'm driving something. That and also seeing the progress. When I started on this thing, I was terrified of it. And that's coming from someone who, for a year and a half prior, was driving a motorized bicycle. Basically
Okay.
a lawnmower strapped to a bicycle.
Something to get the feeling out.
Yeah. And that was a blast. That was one of because that bike got stolen during COVID. And me and my significant other decided to try and build one. We spent 6 months on that thing and it didn't go anywhere.
Oh my God.
And we ended up just saying, fuck it, we're buying a motorcycle. And he loaned me the money to buy a motorcycle.
Amazing.
And seeing like that progress coming up afterwards, after like being shaky on it, having the world's crappiest turns, I swear, I'm really glad it's such a small town and the cops were in different spots because I would have gotten so many tickets for those crappy turns.
Sure, yeah.
But seeing that growth and that acceleration, that felt really good to me. I mean, I'm still nowhere near being good enough to go get my actual license, but with a permit in Missouri, I don't really need one right now. I don't have any restrictions on anything I can drive. So,
What's the difference between the license and the permit? Would that be going out of state?
I believe I can still go out of state with a permit. The license is just more so I don't have to re-extend it every 6 months.
Okay.
More
it's
of a
just
convenience
a time
aspect.
thing, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, whenever you get around to going out to Washington State, you should take I-70 through Colorado on your way, because I know that is like, it comes out of Missouri, you go through Kansas and then into Colorado. Kansas is boring and awful from my experiences in Kansas. Not good.
And full of suicidal turkeys.
Suicidal turkeys. Just my trips through Kansas have been both boring, uneventful, and then on a third, like the other stories I've heard about other travelers through Kansas were just like negative. But once you get through Kansas to the other side of Kansas, coming into Colorado area, is just like, it feels good once you see the first mountain, and then you're like, oh, I'm finally out of this flat hell. And then it becomes mountain roads and just like cool air. And it's just like, the trip on I-70 through Colorado is probably my favorite stretch of road I've been on. And I've gone on road trips from like East Coast all the way basically to West Coast at this point. I like going on vacations in and through Colorado just for that drive. Like it is beautiful, and I imagine that on a motorcycle would be absolutely like breathtaking. Have you gone anywhere interesting on your motorcycle? Like, have you gotten to take it out yet this summer?
Sadly, nowhere super interesting. Only to the dentist.
Only to the
That's as far
dentist?
Yeah, it's been too hot this summer, but I'm hoping this fall I can change that and try and plan out like maybe an adventure on a weekend or something. Just come back on a Sunday or something like that.
Yeah,
once
yeah.
the sun stops being a deadly laser for a little bit.
Are you guys? I know. I like go on walks to the grocery store and get burnt right now. It's absolutely wild. We've gotten some really nice weather that would be okay for it. Past few days has been a little cloudy, but it's been like 70s, so it's actually been pretty nice. So is that something that you kept up on in the past? I don't know how many years since you and your dad or like worked on it. This like skill. Have you been like, I don't know, reading up on it and such?
Sadly, not. After that, I mean, Dad's not going to win any Father of the Year awards.
Okay,
Got
okay.
married and work and stuff. But yeah, not really. My passion for engineering and mechanics came back whenever I met my significant other, and we had a few small projects we worked together with. And so, being able to actually get his help with the motorcycle and us working together on that was mainly whenever my love for engineering came back.
Okay, okay. Do you notice any like crossover at all, like in the way that it helps you think with software engineering, or is it just like totally different world?
For me, it's kind of comical. The way I think of software engineering and the way I go about designing something actually transferred over onto my thought process of problem solving whenever it came to issues. Because for me, whenever I do software development and think of like modules and stuff, I think of what makes up that object, and then I think of what goes into making the rest of that object,
Sure.
and then just kind of narrowing down into like a component between it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to a sound I wasn't familiar with, narrow down the sound and keep going down modular and modular until I get to the solution I need to.
Interesting. Okay, so you got to like pull over other skills and sort of like almost overlay them into the problem at hand. That's very nice. That's very nice. Do you think that you will have a bike forever? Do you think that like this will always be your mode of transportation?
Not for like it's probably be a very key aspect of it, but as I've noticed, as I told my significant other, I'm like, this is going to be my main transportation. I don't want a car.
I'm only a
That's
biker
gonna be
now.
it. Yeah, and then I got hit with the heat waves and the cold, and I've realized, maybe the seasonal riders are right. And at some point, I would like to get a car with AC and a heater for those days that's just too cold, too hot. I mean, I've gone to the dentist now twice in 90-degree temps.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, while it's been fun going up there, it has been hell on the heat wise, and I just come back exhausted and hot as hell. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it taxing on the body at all? Like if you go on like a longer trip, do you feel sore? I don't know, from balancing up a heavier weight than a bike?
I did when I first started, but for me, my strength has always been in like my legs and stuff. So more so it's just me having sat down for like a year and not really even getting to use those muscles. It took a little bit to build that back up, but now it's not really that taxing.
So the set of muscle groups that the motorcycle hits is the legs mainly.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to hold that up mostly.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know. I felt personally that it would have been maybe like the back or like balancing with the shoulders. I don't know why I felt like that would have come into it, but the legs, that's...
And even once you hit the highway, it's not much of an exercise. It's more so whenever you're in town and you're having to stop, start, basically.
Keeping that balance and like restarting that balance. I see. That would go on the legs. And once you're balanced, you're just going.
Yeah, it gets a little scary whenever it's super windy though on the highway. I remember because me and my significant other, we got the bike back after like a month of it sitting at the mechanic shop.
Mm-hmm.
We drove up there and it was supposed to start storming. But we were already halfway up there, and we said, fuck it, I'm driving back in a storm. Whether or not I get rained on, I don't care. And that was scary because the wind was just pushing back and forth on the way there, because there's a specific area on that road that has no windshield, like where it just starts pushing back and forth. So I'm just bobbing and weaving on the entire highway on the back. And that was my first highway trip.
You learned a little bit of something though. I mean, I've felt winds like that in a car, and like, it's a momentary pull even on the steering wheel where you're like, whoa, I gotta try to keep straight. I cannot even imagine getting blasted like a wind like that on a bike. Immediately you gotta fix it.
So like I was hunched down, like just buckled to the seat, just hunched down, holding on for dear life.
There's a buckle?
No. but I was more so meaning I was buckling down.
But you
like,
buckled yourself to the seat. Okay, that about
there's
threw
no
all
actual
of my
buckle.
knowledge. I was like, where would
There's
you buckle
no buckle.
to?
Yeah, there's no buckle. We get no
Sure.
safety.
Sure, you can't be pulled over for not wearing your seatbelt.
You can only get pulled over for being a little too loud, apparently.
Loud, like the bike
Right.
is too loud?
Like if you accidentally rev too much. I've heard a few horror stories of people accidentally revving too loud and a cop getting a little too curious.
Oh my goodness, that's
I got pulled over because of my weird. Whenever I was learning,
it did a little
bobbing and
wobbly.
weaving around the corner. Yeah, they thought I was drunk.
That's fair. That's fair. Low balance comes with being drunk and with being new, and so anytime you're in a big heavy thing, it's at least understandable to check.
I joked with my significant other, speaking of that being pulled over accident, because he was joking when he got his new car. He's like, "You sure you don't want to test drive it?" And I told him just like, the past 3 times I've driven anything new, the cops have always gotten involved in some aspect.
And they got involved in the motorcycle as well.
Yep. and the first 2 times I drove a car, I mean, I drove the car I bought and then my dad's car, but all the cops got involved somehow.
Man, that's got me like pining for like a nice summer drive again. Oh, I guess I'm being forced, not being forced, but I'm driving back from Texas at the end of this week to home in Illinois. So I guess I'll be looking forward to that. Except I have a big trailer, so if I get hit by those winds, I'm nervous about the trailer.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's nerve-wracking. Have you ever gotten into any scrapes or accidents on a motorcycle, or even on your your lawnmower bike?
Calls, but no accidents. A few close calls. Especially on the highway. Whenever going back to that, my first time on the highway, some idiot in a truck decided he was going to chuck a beer can at me. That was terrifying because I had to swerve a little bit.
The same thing happened to me when I was on that moped, and I had it for a few days. I was driving around this small town, and someone threw a cup of pennies at me.
They're not.
Is
very
that
nice
common? Why do people throw things at people that don't like? I wouldn't throw something at a car or a person on a motorcycle, but like at a car, why a motorcyclist?
Because people are dicks to 2-wheelers.
That
one
is
of the things they teach you. Most people won't care.
That is messed up. I mean, I've been in situations with both cars and motorcyclists where they were both being jerks. Like the motorcyclists will, I don't know, take a shoulder when they shouldn't, or whatnot here and there. Those cars will do that same exact way. I always just get more nervous for the motorcyclists because I feel like a car, there's so much protective layering. Yes, I'm gonna get hurt if we get into an accident, but like there's so much protective layering in a car. You just got to be aware that motorcyclists are there and do not have an extra protective layering.
That's why I try and state that you try and make yourself as big as possible as well. Most vehicles won't even care if you're there. They don't look out for motorcyclists. They look for other cars. So especially when I'm coming near a semi, I'll actually speed a little bit just to get close enough and out of their blind sight if they start trying to pass.
Sure, yeah, there's that huge blind spot.
Way I'm seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a benefit for having the rider, is that you are an extra large motorcycle, an extra large presence on the road.
Yeah, cruisers are really nice for that. They absorb most of the vibration and are big enough that you can say, "Hi, I exist. Please don't hit me."
Yeah. Do you think it's easier or harder to maintain, I don't know, like a balance at speed on a bike like that versus a thinner, I don't know, more like Kawasaki style bike?
I've never driven sports bikes because they always looked uncomfortable as hell.
Yeah, they look
I
real
prefer
hard.
not to just like be bent over laying on my bike. No, thank you. But heavier bikes, they hold inertia and balance a lot better. So in town for like your really slow turns, oh, it's fucking awful. Like I feel like I'm gonna drop it multiple times whenever I try and get that like very tight right turn at like 5 miles per hour. It's hell. It's awful.
Sure.
No,
that little like tiptoe walk.
Yeah. And but like whenever you're on the highway, there's not much going for it. I mean, you're rolling at that point. Just make sure you keep the same speed going. And I mean, mine even has highway bags, but they're uncomfortable as hell, and I refuse to use them.
What is a highway bag on a motorcycle?
Peg, like a peg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they stick out a little ways off of, I guess that's where the fender would go.
Okay.
If you want to put a wind fender on there, and they just kind of stick out, and you're supposed to just lay back and then just hold it, and it's just awkward as hell.
Okay. Okay.
I tried it for a minute whenever I finally got comfortable on the highway, and I'm just like, no, thank you. This is just awkward.
Normal riding for me.
Yeah.
Do you have like a wider wheel than
I would say, I think
sports
it's a
bike?
little bit wider than a sports bike.
Yeah.
They're usually more suited for going fast and light, but they're not comfortable and they don't take in a lot of
Right.
like the heavy bounce and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So you have like a more like suspension system on the bigger bike, less vibration, more shocks.
Yep.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Where's a dream place for you to go on your motorcycle? I know that you said Seattle, Washington. Is there anywhere else? Like, do you want to take it to Canada? Would you like? Is there anywhere overseas that you're like interested in going on a bike trip in?
I would like at some point to take it up to Alaska up there on like during their summer where there's no snow. I mean, yeah, you've got the mosquitoes to worry about, but I've heard it's a beautiful country. Same with Colorado, as David stated. Those are two other locations I'd like to go. I mean, Colorado, you've got the mountains, you've got the fresh air, and it's just beautiful up there. And I mean, Alaska's the same during its summer seasons. That would be the only time I could really drive a motorcycle up there without, freezing or hitting snow.
Yeah, my brain always forgets about Alaska. I would very much like to at least visit and check out the Alaskan wilderness. I'm a big fan of wilderness and nature as a whole. Are you guys fans of like camping? Is that like part of your like excitement about like longer motorcycle trips?
Yeah, with doing a cross country, we both are pretty excited about going camping and basically having me keep the supplies on my back while he's taking the paramotor up above. So that would be a really cool thing for a cross country
That
trip.
would be an adorable trip, plane and bike, and we'll meet up at other places and hang out. That's
technically not a plane. He's got like the paramotor's got like a giant wing on him, and then they've got like a big ass fan.
paramotor. Wait, what is this thing? I don't know what a paramotor is. Hold on, I gotta look up what a picture of a paramotor is. What in the heck? What?
Yes.
That is wild. So is it okay? So most hang glider stuff, you like take off from a high point and then overall you come down. The paramotor keeps you up. Oh my goodness. That is bananas. I have never, I think, seen this before somehow. That is so cool and would be very fun to travel along, like, above. Like, if your goal was to keep an eye on the motorcyclist and the motorcyclist's goal was to keep an eye on this paramotorist, that would be very fun to take a long vacation just like keeping up with each other.
Already following behind each other probably wouldn't be there, but getting to the same spot.
Yeah, you guys get to the same spot. That's really cool. That sounds very fun. Would there be any like combination? Can you I don't know, tie the paramotor to the motorcycle and keep it afloat like that? Not like a
probably not safely.
That makes sense. We want to be safe about it. That is intriguing. I've never seen this vehicle and I'm excited. Do you guys have one?
No, he needs to get training for it.
Okay.
We're hoping whenever we move, we can get him training on that.
Wild. Okay. What is did you guys get when you bought this bike, it probably wasn't, you said it wasn't in the greatest condition. Did you repaint it as well?
Luckily, the paint was okay. It was just mainly the engine and other things because frustratingly, they took a cruiser and decided they wanted a dirt bike, and they took it on dirt trails.
I don't know motorcycles, and I don't think that's a good idea.
No, considering it clogged things, and it just didn't work.
Oh man, that is gross. What color what color is your cruiser?
It's a black right now. I would at some point, whenever I get extra, want to get it another paint job. I would really like to get a nice navy blue or more like a galaxy blue if I could as well.
I like that. Any kind of I don't know, like special trim, or like if you go Galaxy Blue, are you interested in like extra Galaxy paint job? Or just like that deep blue?
Maybe that deep blue with a few like star sparkles kind of spread out thinly around it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like a good clean paint job. Black is really nice for a bike though. Black is really nice. I feel like the two maybe stereotypical bike colors of that size would be like black or that like deep maroon red. So that
Also white.
Yeah.
You got to get your big, like massive engine Harley painted white. That seems like the stereotype every time I see one.
Well, I think as we round up here to closing remarks, do you have anything like what's your favorite part about like having this as a hobby? What's your favorite thing about motorcycling if we haven't gotten around to talking about it?
Yeah, for me that's got to be the freedom aspect of it.
The freedom aspect, yeah.
With a car, it is a box like I've mentioned before, and the motorcycle you get all of your senses and you feel like you're actually driving something and not just floating along the way, as I mentioned before.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I like that. Fantastic. I think that we've about covered motorcycles. Is there any kind of like closing remarks you want to let us know?
Yeah, if anybody considers getting a motorcycle, please do your research as well. And I would highly recommend, if you have the money or energy, first get yourself a motorized bicycle first. They're a little less underpowered, but it gives you a good basis to build upon. For me, I was able to pick up on driving a motorcycle a lot faster than if I hadn't had the motorized bike. So that is a key recommendation I always recommend.
Get a little bit of practice on something that is not your final goal.
Yeah.
Something in between, a dirt bike, some kind of motorized bicycle to prepare for that.
And I mean, you can a dirt bike's a lot less powerful than a motorcycle. So, but a motorized bike, you can take it anywhere. Most states it's legal. I think the only one that isn't is California, due to the emissions. Also, yeah, wear a helmet.
Always wear a helmet.
And if it's too hot, at least wear a helmet and boots.
Okay.
Your arms will heal, and don't wear shorts. Please, I'm begging you. Do not wear shorts and sandals on a motorcycle. The amount of times I've seen this and cringed, please don't.
What's the big downside? Do you get burns? Do you like touch? I don't know. Is there like a burn aspect of touching along the bike?
You can if you smack your leg on the exhaust, and the fact that, I mean, if your bike crashes, say goodbye to your feet and your legs because you're wearing sandals.
You're wearing nothing to block that.
Yeah. There's a huge burn risk when it comes to the engine muffler. So, I mean, it's up to you, but the amount of times I've seen it and cringed, and yeah, no, please just don't.
Just don't do that. And if you aren't a motorcyclist, make sure that you keep an eye out for the motorcyclists on the road. Just be aware they have a little less protection than you do. And yeah. Well, Trinity, it was lovely having you on. It was a lovely talk with you, and great just like hanging out with you as always.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll have this up in a week from today, if for your viewing pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Alrighty. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. As for everybody else, I want to appreciate you all. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and learning about motorcycles. What brings Trinity joy? We learned about the aspects of like what brought that joy to Trinity when she was younger, some hopes she has going out to Alaska and Washington State, some Colorado mountain biking, longer trips with her partner on the paramotor. That was an interesting, if you folks do not know what a paramotor is, I didn't before this, go look up a picture. That is a wild time. It just got my brain going. That would be such an interesting trip. I am feeling passionate about that trip. A motorcyclist and a paramotorist go on a trip. That sounds fun. I want to take a few moments to give out some thank yous. I would like to thank Trinity for coming out and being a wonderful guest on the podcast today. I would also like to thank two artists, Mayonnaise and Murda, for allowing me to use their music in this podcast. I really appreciate them. I went to school with these two guys, to high school, and they have been gracious enough to allow me to use their music for the podcast, and I'm very appreciative, so I would like to shout them out. I want to thank you all for coming out and joining us on the 5th episode of the PureJoy Podcast. Make sure that you keep an eye out next Sunday. That would be Sunday, July 24th. You'll be able to find this episode on the podcatchers, on YouTube, and throughout the internet. The following Sunday, July 31st, make sure that you come back and join us. We'll be doing an interview with our friend Leah Ryan about what brings her joy. Make sure that you tune in next time to learn with us. Make sure that you're always spreading the joy, folks. I appreciate you coming to join us, and we'll see you next time.